Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Here we are at the end, pretty much, of 2024. Andy Walker and Pilgrims. I think it's only right and proper to start the show by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas.
Yes, and same to the Pilgrims. Hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas and a lovely festive season. It's always good to catch up with family and friends over the holiday period. And I've actually got a trip to Queensland in a couple of days, taking a few days out to go up north to the Gold Coast. Got a game at Sanctuary Cove at the Pines Course on Friday. So
nice.
Yeah, starting early, and I've got another week of work to do next week, but then I'm off for a couple of weeks, which should be very, very nice.
Well, that is exciting, and I'm intrigued that you mentioned that because I too am going to the Gold Coast. However, it's the following week, and we also will be having a game of golf up there. The question is, which course are we playing?
Well, there's plenty to choose from. So if you don't know, you could just randomly go to any of golf courses on the Gold Coast. There are some good golf courses up there, I have to say. I haven't played Sanctuary Cove yet, but there's been a couple.
I haven't played
the
Sanctuary
Glades
Cove.
Is quite a good golf course. Lakelands is quite a good golf course.
The Glades is the course I will be playing whilst I'm up there.
Tough course. Very long if you're playing it, especially from the plates. It's tough golf course.
So we will be playing the Krusty Cousins Christmas Cup up on the Gold Coast, and that will involve obviously myself and a couple of the other cousin-in-laws. A couple of them, let's just say, haven't ever played the game before. Andy Walker.
They're going to struggle at the Glades, I can tell you.
And a question's been put out on the group chat of how many balls do you think we should be bringing, to which the simple answer was all of them.
Yes, plenty.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll be fun.
Yeah. That is a baptism of fire, I have to say, going to the Glade. There are easier golf courses on the Gold Coast that you could start off with, but
yeah, but apparently not. So that'll be something to look forward to. We'll report back on that one on our next episode. But the reason that I start with a Merry Christmas to all of the Pilgrims is because this will be, Andy Walker, I think this will be our last official episode that we release pre-Christmas.
Yes.
Given you're going away and then I'm going away, and then we'll probably catch up in the middle somewhere on around about New Year's Eve for the grand finale of the Missing Links Golf Show Yearly Championship, which we will then be reporting back on, I think, Pilgrims in early January.
Yep. Now I've got a home ground advantage, so I'm feeling relatively confident at this point.
And you should. You really should. Yeah. I think you can't get enough money
on underdog status.
Yeah, you can't get enough money on Andy Walker to run away with the Yearly Championship. However, I will post around a golf before that because I am playing on the a comp round at my home club on Wednesday, the 18th of December, before I take off for a break, because I haven't played for a little while and I do want to get another round under my belt before I get to the fine fairways of Cooinda waters over Christmas time.
Yep. Well, I was going to have a game on the 24th on Christmas Eve, but I've just looked at the booking sheet.
And you won't be getting it.
It's very full.
Yeah.
So I may or may not be able to sneak in. Look, at the end of the day, it's only sort of one slot that someone's got to drop out and I slot in there. So, I still reckon I'm a fair chance, but we'll just have to wait and see.
And that we will. That we will. So, look, Pilgrim's action-packed night tonight. We've got a fair bit to discuss, and you will recall from previous episodes, of course, we talked about the reset that we needed to have. We talked about some of Andy Walker's tech stack that he's got lined up for improvement in 2025. We've also been through the November files and talked about where we finished the month of November, which of course means that the yearly championship is all locked up coming into December. That's exciting. But tonight we're going to have a bit of a chat about some of my thoughts for improvement into 2025, and certainly in the lead up to the New South Wales Senior Amateur, which, Pilgrims, I'm happy to say we have put our entries in for. So that's the plan, Andy Walker.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what 2025 brings for your good self, Mr. Hinks. We haven't heard your plan for 2025 yet, so
no, we haven't.
I know you've played around a little bit with AI in assisting developing a plan, so I'm interested to hear how that goes. I did have a bit of a play around with it this afternoon, and I have to say I'm not overly impressed, but I think I'll be sticking to my original plan. But happy to listen to what you've come up with.
Oh, look, Pilgrims, what we've done, or what I've done, is I've gone down the AI rabbit hole and enlisted the help of ChatGPT to author an improvement plan for me to get from a handicap of 8 down to scratch. It has come up with a pretty detailed plan, actually, which is not too bad, and we will get to that in just a moment because there's quite a bit to talk about. And in some respects, I think it's not a bad place to start if you don't really know where to start on some of the things that you might want to look at. I would say this as a caveat: AI has a tendency to do this, and that is it throws you every piece of information that it can possibly think of with no filter. So that is,
and I also find pretty generalised. There's nothing
definitely generalised.
Nothing specific about it. So if you want an individual plan, and even to a point where I threw on my strokes gain data, it didn't really come up with anything that specific. No. It was very general. Gave me a couple of drills, and that was really about it. So I think that nothing replaces actually, getting in the dirt and either coming up with something yourself or enlisting the help of a professional to help with your game plan. Of course, I'm not convinced about AI. I mean, we all know about the AI app that we played around with earlier in the year, and I sort of feel like this improvement plan and the results of the improvement plan are sort of on a similar level to what the AI golf improvement app was.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I think you're spot on, actually. And to be perfectly honest, I think my main area that I'll be focusing on for improvement into the new year is actually going to be tempo, swing tempo. And I think probably the biggest ally that I'll be enlisting into the new year will be the Tour Tempo app that we talked about a couple of episodes ago. But spoiler alert, that's definitely coming up. But I have done a little bit of thinking about that and just sort of looking back over the errors, the poor shots, the missed shots in the last few rounds. And to be perfectly honest, the culprit, generally speaking, all the time has been getting quick. Not unusual. A lot of golfers go through that. But I think particularly with my iron play is where I think my tempo has the tendency to get a little bit out of sync. So that's probably going to be the main thing. But we will get to that because, Andy Walker, where I'd like to start with a bit of a philosophical discussion with you.
Okay.
Because I know that you're a learned scholar of philosophy.
Yeah, you could say that.
One of your favourite topics, really, whenever we catch up, is philosophical discussion. So I'm going to throw a couple of names your way and tell me if you recognise these names, Andy Walker. Sigmund Freud.
Yes. I think most people on the planet have heard of Sigmund Freud.
Actually originated in common usage, the term ego. Did you know that?
No.
True story. Sigmund Freud. Carl Jung.
I have heard of Carl Jung, yes.
Mm. And another one I'm going to throw at you, see if you've heard of this one, is Alfred Adler.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so, and I'm not surprised. But interestingly, these three, so Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, and Alfred Adler, were actually all associates at the same time in Vienna in the sort of turn of the century 1900 style.
Okay. Would you call them mates or?
Well, I think they probably were on pretty good terms and worked together for a while. I'm not sure that they ever had a podcast, but that would have been an interesting listen. Get the old gramophone out and listen to your latest podcast from the three giants of early psychology. But the reason that I raise these names is I've actually just started, I've been reading a book for the last month or so, and what I didn't know at the time, it was based on the psychology work of Alfred Adler.
Right. Okay.
And it has...
So this book that you've been reading for a month and a half, like, how thick is it? I mean, it's got to be pretty dry to... unless it's like 1,000 pages or more, and you're just struggling to get through it.
So the reality of it, and I will confess that the truth on this one, Pilgrims, is that I've been squeezing in a little bit of reading time just before going to sleep of an evening,
and it's worked.
And this has been speeding the process.
Oh wow! Who's surprised about that development?
I mean, is it a bit of a form of meditation? I don't know. But anyway, it's struck a bit of a chord. So just, Andy Walker, because I know you like the detail here, a little bit of a difference between the three associates' approach to psychology is Freud, you may know, became famous for his psychoanalysis, and in particular, his focus on sexual repression.
Yeah.
Like he's... the Freudian slip that people refer to, a lot of conversations about relationships with early female role models in your life for a young man, those sorts of things. Pretty concerning, really, when you read some of the detail about what might have gone on for young Sigmund Freud. But anyway, very well known. Jung, on the other hand, don't know if you're familiar with this, but took more of a spiritual approach, talking about the importance of spirituality, including religion, on human psyche. Adler, however, took what he called an individual perspective. Now, this is probably why I found it interesting. It's a little bit less well known than the other two, but where I found it interesting, and I'll take you back to conversations that we've had previously about imposter syndrome. Because Adler's approach was fundamentally based around the simple belief that feelings of inferiority and the pursuit of superiority, it's a bit of a mouthful, they are inherent growth drivers in humans. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. He does talk about the fact, though, that feelings of inferiority is quite different to an inferiority complex, which is where you start sneaking
what's the definition of the two?
Well, what he says, from what I can ascertain, is that feelings of inferiority will generate thoughts like, I'm not currently good enough, therefore I must work harder, or I must improve, I must achieve a high standard. So I don't feel like I'm there yet, but potentially I could get there if I did the right things. Whereas an inferiority complex, the self-talk, would generate thoughts like, I'm not good enough, therefore I can't.
Right. Okay.
So that, to me, sneaks in.
That's growth mindset versus fixed mindset, isn't it?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, that is exactly what we talk about in the difference between the two. I mean, and I think we had that conversation sort of coming up into the New South Wales Country Championships. Is because you were talking about the imposter syndrome and the difference between saying you got this versus backing yourself, and that backing yourself is definitely sort of the growth mindset, whereas just saying you got this is one of those things where your brain doesn't necessarily believe it. Now that's obviously not the inferiority complex, but certainly the growth mindset, I think, is more leaning towards the backing yourself. Even though currently you may not feel as though you've got the skill base to be able to succeed at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we talk a lot about acceptance as well. We've had good conversations with John Sherman. We've had good conversations with Josh Nichols, with Michael Leonard, with John Weir, with all sorts of fantastic guests about acceptance. So when sitting there saying, that I'm dealing with feelings, or the royal I, the royal we, all of us dealing with feelings of inferiority, it might be easy to say, well, it's important to accept ourselves as we are. However, if you think about it in this lens, that those feelings of inferiority are in fact a launch pad for growth, perhaps that sort of acceptance on that lens might actually stifle that. So the better solution would be to accept that we have these feelings of inferiority and not try and, diminish them or push them away, but actually use them as the road markers or the big neon signs that says, hey, you are realizing within, your honest self that you need to improve in this area. Because sometimes those feelings can be a little bit sneaky, right?
Yeah, and using that like as a bit of fuel to the fire to to drive that growth, is that what you're?
That's exactly what
saying?
I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So like acknowledging when those feelings arise. So for example, in the build up to the country championships, when I was, and obviously I was feeling about it because I was talking about it for about 3 weeks, as the Pilgrims would probably have been sick of hearing. But rather than sort of just saying, no, I'm okay, I've got this, for want of a better term, I've done the hard work and I should feel comfortable being there, et cetera, but actually flagging, going, this is interesting, I'm having these feelings, that therefore means that deep down in my psyche, I understand that there is a need for improvement. So I'm not going to ignore that. I'm also not going to allow it to get to that complex stage where it says, I'm feeling these feelings, therefore I can't do it and I won't do it. But I will do it, I can do it, but I also acknowledge that is indicating that there's areas that I know that I need to improve.
Okay. So then how do you balance that out and those feelings against what we talked about in backing yourself?
Right. So that's where it becomes a little bit interesting. You're asking such good questions as well, Andy Walker. I like this.
We've done this a few times this year, I think.
I know, but we haven't actually rehearsed this. But it's like, this is good. You're actually taking me through the notes that I jotted down when I was reading this book. So one of the things that Alfred Adler does talk about is that the root cause of all of our concerns and stresses and problems in life is due to interpersonal relationships.
Right.
Okay. So if we were able to live our life in a vacuum and never be aware of the presence of another human, we would not have any feelings of shortcoming or inferiority or any search for superiority, because there would be no benchmark to measure against. The reality is that you can't do that, right? Because there's no possibility of living in, and it would also be, you'd have to have lived your entire existence in this vacuum, because if you then had been around people and then were taken away from them, then the issue of loneliness and isolation and those types of things would anyway, it goes down quite a rabbit hole. But the point that he makes is that...
No wonder it made you went to sleep.
Is everyone asleep already? This is cracking podcasting, people. It's got a point, though, because to answer your question, like, how do you deal with it? So the thing is, when you realise that that's through interpersonal relationships, if you're putting your yardstick or your measuring benchmark on other people, that's when you're going to cause yourself to start to have these, problem feelings of, I can never be as good as that guy, or I can never, hit the ball as far as that guy, or, whatever that comparison is that you're trying to make. So the instruction is basically to look at comparing where you are at the moment against your ideal self, not against somebody else.
Okay. So when you're talking about interpersonal relationships, does this, and I'm sort of thinking about the conversation we had with, say, Paul Salter, where, he talks about, those relationships that you've had, whether it be with your parents, siblings, mentors, that define your reactions and how you perform, well, not just on the golf course, but in life in general. So does he sort of reference historical interpersonal relationships, or is it just the interpersonal relationships at the time that's generating these current feelings?
No, he absolutely does. And what he talks about, and this I thought was interesting, is that he talks about the way that you view your place in the world and a lot of the ways of dealing with situations is actually formed at around about the age between 10 to 12.
Yep.
Where it's different, though, and this is the difference, say, to Freud's approach, which is saying that all of human actions and behaviours and personality and those sorts of things is driven by childhood trauma or response to trauma. What Adler's talking about is not so much that it's actually forward-looking, but it's learnt the ways of interpreting things from that age. So it's a slightly different lens on, and I won't go down that rabbit hole because it starts to get a little bit esoteric that we probably don't need to in this show. But essentially it's that you act in certain ways because that's how you've learnt to cope with those situations, and that's how you've learnt to deal with those situations. And it's generally because you might not want to confront something, a shortcoming that exists within yourself. So you kind of got these mechanisms to work around that, or to smoke screen, or, to never have to worry about that. Like it might be, people might do things like when they get in pressure situations, they'll always, like blame something. It was someone else's fault. It was this, it was that, it was whatever, because they never want to actually front up to the, or like you see people that, maybe don't put their full effort in and treat something as a bit of a joke, or, I'm just mucking around. It doesn't really matter. It's because you don't want to confront the fact that if you actually put everything on the line and you still came up short, that you actually came up short. So it's some of that sort of thing.
So is there a I guess does he put forward a position where you can overcome these these shortcomings, or is it that because you think and feel a certain way, it's permanent and you can't do anything about it?
No, he talks a lot about the concept of life tasks. And I should mention that the title of the book is actually The Courage to Be Disliked.
Right.
And I bought it because it inspired me thinking of you, Andy Walker, and your approach to interpersonal relationships. I'm joking, Pilgrim. I'm totally joking. What it's saying is the concept with life tasks is like, there's a situation, I act in a certain way, I can't control the reaction that the other person brings to the table. Therefore, I should allow myself the freedom to act in the way that I think is the right way to act, without trying to always, juggle and massage my approach just to appease the other person because of the way that they might react. So a lot of the driver on this is about essentially saying that you have to make your own choices. You have to come up with your own strategies, your own solutions. They have to be for the right reasons that suit your own needs as well as your contribution to society. But you can't control the way that other people react to that. I interpret that as well in a golf setting, that I need to play my own game. I need to make my own decisions. I need to create my own strategy, my own training plan, my own decisions on the course, and not just constantly be reacting to what's going on around me with the other players, the other people in the group, the other scores, if it's in match play, what the other guy's doing, all those sorts of elements. Like none of it's rocket science, Andy Walker. It's not. It's just another. I feel like it's another angle of saying similar things that we've been talking about.
Yeah. And to me, it sounds more philosophy than rocket science anyway. So,
yeah, which is fair enough because I don't think they had rockets in 1900 when he wrote this information. So it's anyway. It's been an interesting read, Pilgrims.
So it's because when you talk, certainly when you talk about in the golfing sense and when you're playing match play, I agree that you need to be focused on yourself and what you're doing. However, in saying that, to a certain extent, depending on where you are in whether it be in the tournament or the match, your strategy may have to change because of what the other person is doing. If certainly, if you're, 3 or 4 down with 3 or 4 holes to play, then your strategy, if you want to win the match or at least sort of get it back to square, does need to change to be a little bit more aggressive so you can give yourself that opportunity to catch back up. And the same as, if you're in a tournament, if you want to win, if you're a few shots behind, you probably need to play a little bit more aggressive to be able to catch up and potentially, win or at least make a playoff. So I sort of see that sort of discussion.
Can I offer a little lens on that? Because there's a semantics point to this.
Yeah. I'll just sort of finish what I was saying is that I think it comes down to the individual situation, and that yes, you've got to forge your own path and play your own game, but there also comes a time where you've got to take what someone else is doing into consideration if you want the result that you're after.
Yes. And I agree with all of that. The semantics point that I was going to make is that is based on, if you take this viewpoint that, like you're responsible for doing your things and you leave other people to be responsible to their reactions, and therefore you're responsible for your reactions to what the other person's doing. The semantics point is that, yes, you might change your strategy, and in a match play, you might say, I'm actually going to take a more aggressive approach on this hole, more aggressive lines, take driver instead of an iron or whatever your decision-making, slight change of process. But you're doing it because you've absorbed all of the information and you're making a proactive decision.
Correct. Yes.
Rather than just surrendering control of your decision making and reacting to what the other person's doing. I think that's the point.
I agree with that. I understand. I understand the differentiation there.
Yeah.
And I do agree with it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's been an interesting romp down the halls of psychoanalysis over the last 125 years. But there you go, Andy Walker. I think we've solved it all. Mental approach to golf.
Not convinced that we've solved it all, but certainly, posed a couple of questions and maybe floated a couple of answers out there as well.
So Pilgrim's interested in your thoughts. Who's your favourite psychologist, psychoanalyst, psychology theorist, whatever you want to call them, throughout history? Are you a Freud guy, a Jung guy, an Adler guy, someone else?
Interestingly, though, talking about, that whole sort of approach with more so the mental side and with Paul Salter, is that I have actually booked in to have a session with Paul Salter this week. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes and what Paul's approach is, and how hypnotherapy will work. Because he also talks about, applying those principles not just on the golf course, but in life in general.
Well, I think you can't separate it really.
Yeah. So I've obviously got, business and career and sort of family and things I do outside of golf. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out and where it all fits into the game plan.
It will. That is exciting.
It's very exciting.
Maybe just find out which of the great psychologists Paul Salter's into.
Yeah, I may do. Yeah.
Who knows? It's probably written his own book.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was thinking about writing a book. I'm not sure of how far he's got down that track yet.
Well, he'd have to be a dad pretty soon, if not already.
Yeah, if not already, because it was getting very close when he was on the show. So he was talking about December.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
So I'll have to check in with him and see how he's going.
Absolutely. I think all the Pilgrims will be keen to know. All right. So that's a bit of an intro. That's where I've been going with the mental side of things, trying to wrap my head around some of these concepts. So
here's a really interesting question, because I know we haven't quite got into your practice plan as yet and your plan for 2025. At this stage, do you have any thoughts on how you're taking these philosophical learnings and applying them to golf?
To be fair, I don't think it's going to change much, because I think a lot of the pilgrimage in 2024 has been around some of these concepts on the golf course. Now, I also feel like a lot of the gains that I've made this year have been in that space. Yep. So I don't think that it's fundamentally going to change anything. What I am interested, though, is having gained a little bit more understanding around that imposter syndrome piece and where that comes from and how powerful that can be in a positive sense, but also how dangerous it can be in a negative sense if you don't manage it in the right way.
Yeah.
So I think it will help me process some of that sort of thinking a little bit. So it won't necessarily change any of the mental approach on the course, but I think it has given me a bit better framework to actually process some of those feelings outside of the course in preparation for, and even I suppose that does maybe change your mindset just a little bit on the course in uncomfortable situations, which we'll be confronting a few of this year.
Yeah. And as an added bonus, you found a new way to get yourself to sleep quicker. So, everyone's a winner.
In fairness, it's not a skill that I've ever struggled with.
Fair enough.
So, no, that's all very good. So, shall we talk improvement plans, Andy Walker? Shall we get into it?
Yes. Would love to talk about improvement plans.
Yeah. So, look, Pilgrims, as mentioned, I put into ChatGPT a question of how can an 8 handicap golfer get to scratch with a development plan, and put in the strokes gained stats of where are we? It was what we ran through last time. So it was minus 2.95 on approach, minus 3.73 on short game, and pretty much level pegging on tee shots, and losing a half to a shot on putting. So pretty close on that one as well. So ChatGPT quite rightly has identified the issue, and it says, to achieve your goal of reaching scratch handicap, we'll develop a personalised plan based on your current strokes gained stats. Thanks, because that's the question I asked. The areas where you lose the most strokes are approach shots, minus 2.95, and short game, minus 3.73. So these should be... Which
we've already identified with the strokes gained data.
Yeah, thanks for telling me my information back. And says these areas should be prioritised.
Wow. Captain Obvious.
ChatGPT then goes on to say, let's break it down into actionable steps for each aspect of your game. Okay. So it starts with tee shots. 1, tee shots. So after saying we're going to focus on approach shots and short game, it starts with tee shots.
Excellent.
It's good work. So it says tee shots minus 0.04. ChatGPT says you're performing close to scratch level here, so maintenance with minor refinements is key.
Yes, there's nothing general about that at all.
It gets better. Action plan. This is where we get into the specifics. Focus. giving me a focus area.
Nice.
And it identifies that my focus area with tee shots should be, wait for it, accuracy and consistency.
Wow. Who would have thought that accuracy and consistency would be one of the keys to, good golf?
Yeah. And the goal, it's giving me a goal, reduce erratic dispersion to avoid penalty strokes or difficult second shots.
So it's given you accuracy and consistency.
Yep.
And in the next point, it's gone the complete opposite and just giving you the opposite of.
No, it's telling me to reduce erratic dispersion. My focus should be on accuracy and consistency. I will achieve that by reducing erratic dispersion. I think that makes sense. It's another way of saying the same thing. The practice routine that it is giving me is twice a week, hit 30 to 50 drives on a range, focusing on fairway targets. Good. Incorporate a launch monitor session monthly, if accessible, to track metrics like spin rate, ball speed, and dispersion. Simulate on-course pressure. Play 9 holes with a focus on hitting fairways. Well, duh. And what I do like, though, is it says equipment check. Ensure your driver, shaft, loft, and ball are optimized for your swing speed. Tick.
You have done that.
I have done that. Anyway, so driving, not a lot really there. Approach shots says this area offers significant improvement potential. Thanks, ChatGPT, for your vote of confidence on my approach shots. The strokes lost likely stem from inconsistent ball striking and distance control. I'd say that's fair. Action plan, skill development focus, grooving consistent contact and improving distance control, improving proximity to the hole from common approach yardages. Sounds fair.
Yeah.
So the practice routine, range practice 2 to 3 times a week. Dedicate 40% of your range time to mid-iron, 7 to 9 iron. Use alignment sticks to practice start lines and ball flight. How? Perform randomized practice, simulating different yardages and lines and lies.
How do you use alignment sticks to assist with ball flight?
I think.
I mean, starting lines. I agree with that.
I think what it is suggesting is like you stick an alignment stick straight up in the ground a few meters in front, and start one left of it and try and bend it to the right. Start one right of it and try and bend it to the left. I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so specific drills. Maybe there's more information here. Gate drill. Place 2 tees slightly wider than your club head to improve strike consistency. Sounds like a putting drill, but anyway, maybe do that with your irons as well. 9-shot drill. Work on shaping shots. Draw fades straight at 3 heights. Now, that's pretty complex. Seriously. Am I ready for that, ChatGPT? Course practice on par 3s, hit extra approach shots to the green from various distances. Practice putts from... No, maybe I skipped ahead. Here we go. Tracking. After each round, log missed greens. Yep. Coaching. Consider a lesson. We don't do lessons on this show.
Wow. That's a bit of a fail in... the language that we use here on the Missing Links Golf Show, isn't it?
I might have to provide some additional background information to ChatGPT on this one. Short game. This is the area with the most potential to save strokes. Strong short game directly lowers scores by salvaging pars and occasional birdies. It's been listening to Dave McClelland, I feel.
Well, given your strokes gain data is actually your approach play is probably the worst. Surely that's got to be
it's not.
Where you've got the most potential, isn't it?
Short game's worse. Approach shots is minus 2.95. Short game's minus 3.73.
Oh, right.
In my last 10 rounds. I genuinely think that that's actually going to flip And I think legitimately, performance-wise, it's the opposite. They're both in need of work. Skill development, improve contact consistency for chips, pitches, and bunker shots. Yeah, okay. Develop touch and creativity for different lies and slopes. It's probably a good idea. Practice routine. Weekly short game sessions. Spend 60 minutes practicing 2 to 3 times a week. It's a lot.
That is a lot.
Not going to do that. 10 to 20 yard chips. Work on carry and rollout control. It's probably good advice. Pitch shots, 30 to 60 yards. Focus on strike and distance. That's probably a bit along the lines of what you've been doing in the high performance center.
So are they? Is it suggesting like picking a landing spot?
I think so.
Or is it just sort of talking about, that distance control?
It's, I suppose you might use one to do the other, really. So it says here, use targets to simulate in-game pressure.
Okay. Yep.
So I guess that's what it's suggesting. Chipping practice game, use 5 to 10 balls from varied lies, aiming to land within 6 feet of the hole. To land within 6 feet, or to finish within 6 feet? Lag putting drill. Hit chips to various distances and putt out, aiming for no more than one putt. So that's an up and down drill.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
And then that's a gamified, gamifying your
I would totally agree with that. Yeah, and I think I do that when I go and do a short game session, because I think it's really useful. Way better than just hitting chip after chip after chip from the same spot.
So here's a question: when you're chipping and pitching, do you aim to get it within a certain distance of the hole, or are you focused on your landing area or a landing spot? So
both at different times, depending on what I'm practicing. Are you talking about in practice or during the game?
Oh, both. Well, I would assume that what you're doing in practice, your practice is simulating what you're doing out in the golf course.
Yeah. So probably one of the biggest changes that I've made of recent times is really trying to focus on a landing spot and getting that right.
Yep.
And hopefully, then that will result in it being close if you've judged your landing spot correctly.
Yep.
It is interesting,
and it's interesting because that's the approach I take, and I did hear, and I forget who it was that I heard it from, but what they were saying is that you have to focus on what you can control, and you can control where you landed on the green. However, after that, it's a little bit out of your control in that, if, for instance, there's, a slightly harder area of the green than not, it could actually skip on a little bit more rather than bouncing and grabbing. I mean, you see that a little bit on TV when the PGA Tour guys are pitching. If there's a spot that it hits and it doesn't quite grab on the second or third bounces as they anticipate. So what they were saying, this person was, you should be focusing on where you're landing it, and then it's a little bit out of your control what the ball does. Similar to when you're putting, you putt it at the speed and the line that you're wanting to putt it at, and then what happens after that is a little bit out of your control.
Yep, 100%. And that's, I think, probably linked to why a lot of the time, we amateurs miss putts on the low side, because you invariably start thinking about putting the ball at the hole rather than putting it at the point at which you should be aiming, which you would use if you were using aim point.
Correct.
So I think there's a bit in that. But yeah, that has been a change of moving towards a landing spot rather than just trying to chip the ball towards the hole.
Yep. And from your perspective in reading through the game improvement plan, Do you think ChatGPT comes from that angle, or do you think that it's more they're saying, chipping it to the hole and with the hole in mind rather than the landing spot?
I don't think it's clear, to be honest. I think you could read it in either way, because then it says at the end, it says the goal, consistently get chips and pitches inside 6 to 8 feet.
Which is the result, I guess.
Rather than consistently get chips and pitches landing on or about your target landing spot. So I think by that it's probably talking more about end result rather than where you're landing it. Another one, it's not on this list, but another one that I actually want to try is, and I don't know if you use this one at all, Andy Walker, when you're doing a bit of short game practice, but putting your towel on the green as your landing spot and just seeing how many times you can land the ball on your towel from various spots.
No, I've never tried that before.
So I think I might give that one a go, because that's really dialing in your landing spot. And it doesn't matter where it ends up after that. And in fact, you don't even need a green to do that.
Correct.
Do that anyway.
So did ChatGPT suggest having a wedge fitting?
Strangely, no. Didn't. It's not interesting. It didn't do that with irons either.
Yeah, it said the driver and ball, it picked that up, but it hasn't picked it up in other areas, which I find really interesting.
Well, it didn't specifically say have a driver fitting. It just said ensure your driver, shaft, loft, and ball are optimized for your swing speed. I mean, ultimately that's having a fitting, but didn't necessarily say that. No. So putting. Says here you're slightly below scratch level here, so focus on honing distance control and holing out short putts. It's good advice. Get your long putts closer to the hole and sink more of your short putts. Chat GPT is a legitimate strategy genius.
Yes.
And then it reinforces that skill development focus, improve lag putting to reduce 3 putts, and sharpen confidence on 4 to 10 footers. Job done.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Specific drills, it's talking about lag putting drills, practice from 30, 40, 50 feet, focusing on stopping the ball within a 3-foot circle. Let me give you the tip. If I could do that every time from 50 feet, I'll be on the PGA Tour. Use alignment aids to control aim and start lines. No detail on how. Short putts 3 to 10 feet. Use a chalk line or putting mirror to improve setup and alignment. Play the 3-6-9 drill, similar to the 1-2-4 drill that Dave McClellan's talked to us about.
Yep.
And pressure simulation, end each session with 10 must-make putts from 4 to 6 feet. That is a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I think, look, there's some stuff in there. I did ask it for more detail, and it has broken down some of these drills into a little more detail. And it's given a weekly practice schedule, starting with, I really like this, starting with Monday, rest day.
Yes.
There's nothing like kicking off your program with a rest day. It's so good.
Yeah.
Then Tuesday, approach shots and putting for 2 hours. Wednesday, short
2
game.
hours, really?
Yeah. Wednesday.
Wow. Who's got 2 hours on a Tuesday to just go and have a lazy 2 hours of practice? I mean,
not me. Wednesday, short game, 1.5 hours. It gets better, Andy Walker. You'll enjoy this. Thursday, tee shots and lag putting, 2 hours.
Nice. I like it.
Friday, course practice, 2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
Saturday, short game and approaches for 2 hours.
Yep.
Sunday, competitive round, 4 to 5 hours.
Nice.
So,
okay.
what is that? It's 2, 4, 6.
You've just got to give away work and
7.
like spend less time with the family, and you'll be right.
That to me adds up to 13 hours in the week, which is nice because it says the weekly practice schedule 10 to 12 hours per week. 10 to 12, maybe 13. Anyway, it's
a starting point.
It's a starting point. Yeah. I think there's a few things in there that I'll use, to be honest, and I think there's a lot in there that I won't.
Well, given it's like 13 hours worth, I reckon there's going to be a lot in there that you're not going to use. But
there's a lot in there that I won't. I think, and in all honesty, I think this is what's going to happen, Andy Walker. I'm going to invest in the Tour Tempo app. I am going to do probably a good 30-minute session Tour Tempo on irons in the High Performance Centre a couple of times a week. And I'd say I'm probably going to get down and do 1 or 2 short game sessions a week, just really looking at drilling in the, the landing spot control.
Yep.
And I think that's probably going to be where it's at, to be honest.
Yeah.
With those 2 things. I think it's a case of just maintaining tee shot performance at the moment. I feel like I've kind of got that driver swing grooved in pretty well right now. I mean, who knows how long that lasts because things come and go, right? Like, bad habits sneak in. But as long as that's going as it is, I'm probably not going to muck around with that too much. Putting is, I think, really just a case of continuing to get practicing with that, which will be factored into the short game stuff, like doing the up and down drills and those activities. I think,
I do like the 369 drill, which obviously David's got a different take on that, being the sort of 1-1-3-6, was it that
something
David
like
had?
that? Something like that.
Yeah. I have a tendency to do around sort of 2-4-8, so it's sort of a little bit in between those, but I find
anything of that nature is fine.
And what I have a tendency to do is to do like, north, south, east and west.
Yeah.
That to me is a really good, it takes me sort of 20, 25 minutes. I've got 3 balls. So it's 9 putts from each point, and away you go.
No, I definitely think it's a good one. So I'll be doing those things, and I think between now and March, if I can improve the percentage of my iron strikes that I get on the center of the face, that will make a huge difference because that will directly relate to greens in regulation. And then if I can improve the consistency and the confidence as well with chipping around the greens to get a few more up and downs for those greens that you miss, and get that sort of up over 50%, then again, that makes a huge difference.
Yep. And
those 2 things, I think that is the difference between me being at 8 and about 4 or 5.
Yeah. It doesn't take a lot, and certainly at between 8 and 4, and then 4 and 2, and 2 and 1, it's only a matter of just small changes and small improvements, and if you're making small improvements through each area of your game, then that's going to end up being significant when you look at your game in total.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of it, the cliches, but they're cliches for a reason because things work.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the plan, Pilgrims. That is the plan. We'll see how we go putting that into practice. But I'm feeling good. I was thinking about this today. I'm feeling like the game's in a pretty good position at the moment coming into the new year.
Yep.
I'd like to be playing a little bit more golf at the moment, if I'm honest, but I think that just where certain skills are at and where velocity of improvement is at in certain parts of the game is definitely in the right place.
Nice.
So there you go.
Bring on 2025.
It's going to get here whether we like it or not.
Rumor has it.
Yeah. So let's embrace it. And yes, one thing we've not yet done though, Andy Walker, is put in our entry for the New South Wales Senior Amateur Foursomes medal.
No, we have not. And I must admit, while you did say that we've both put in our entries for the New South Wales Senior Amateur Championship, so
You haven't?
I did keep fairly quiet at that point in time because
I did notice that.
I actually haven't.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of time, and I am going to, but
Right.
haven't quite got around to sticking the entry in yet.
It's not that hard.
No.
Albeit I did have a few challenges because the website was saying that I did not meet either the age or gender criteria for the tournament, which I thought was unusual given that it was both a men's and women's tournament at the same time.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, look, in today's day and age, you may not, depending on who you identify as, but that's probably a different discussion than the one that we would normally have.
I identify as a scratch golfer, Andy Walker. Doesn't make it so.
No, it does not. But, I'm sure one day you'll get there.
I hope so. I do hope so. Genuinely hope so. That is the aim of the exercise. And, if I keep following the training plan for 13 hours a week that ChatGPT's put together, then I'm half a chance of getting there. Who knows? Anyway, it's all good fun. But what's coming up, Pilgrims, we've got, we've got Christmas coming. As we mentioned before, we've both got trips to sunny Queensland coming. And then hopefully we'll be catching up in person to duke it out for the last possible round to win December for the yearly championships on the line.
Yep. Looking forward to that because that's a New Year's Eve special, and then we'll be hanging out with the family afterwards for New Year's Eve. So that should be a very, very good day. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh, it'll be a lot of fun. If anyone is around the Central Coast on New Year's, let us know. It'd be nice to have a beer with a Pilgrim.
Yeah.
On that note, Andy Walker, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all the Pilgrims. Wishing you a very safe and happy New Year. And, I look forward to catching up with everyone when we return.
Might have to find some Christmas carol style music to put behind that heartfelt message.
You could do.
We'll see how we go. If there's no Christmas carol music behind that, you'll know that I was not able to find anything that wasn't copyrighted. So there you go. We'll give it a go.
I mean, you could just put our theme music behind it.
We'll do that.
Is that Christmassy?
It's not Christmas music.
No?
It's really not. No, we play it all year round. We do. Anything else? Have we missed anything, Andy Walker? Is there?
No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty comprehensive. I'm looking forward to, as I said, looking forward to 2025, and when we've both got our practice sessions, practice plans in place now. So I think it's just a matter of getting out there and getting to the new year and making sure we stick to it, and hopefully the results will follow.
Absolutely, it's going to be a big one. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, but also looking forward to seeing if there's any golf-related paraphernalia under the Christmas tree this year too. That'll be exciting.
Yes.
Could be a chance. We'll see how we go.
Nice.
We'll see how we go. Pilgrims, it's been a lot of fun. Can't wait for 2025. Andy Walker, any final thoughts?
Yeah, again, Merry Christmas, and just make sure that over the Christmas break we rock out, Pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our Pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, Pilgrims.